On behalf of the Hellenic College class of 2015, I want to welcome and thank all of you present here today. Christos Anesti. Thank you for allowing me this amazing honor. I have to admit, I am a bit nervous to speak here today. I've rewritten this speech too many times to count, and this is probably because I know so many of you here and wanted to make each of you excited about what I was saying, especially my class, the best graduating class in the history of Orthodoxy. Yet the same sense of knowing everyone is what will get me through this address, because I know that you are all kind, generous, and loving people, and we are a community who supports one another. Truly, as I look back at my time at HCHC, there is a single thread which has bound my experiences together and actually made many of them possible: community. Community in all its joy, messiness, silliness, stress, annoyance, and of course, love. Whether we are going to grad school here or elsewhere, into business, education, or any of the other exciting things the class of 2015 has planned, it is both nerve-wracking and exciting to think of leaving this amazing community and joining another one. Our community is a particularly close one, which can be both a joy and a frustration. Once, while I was in the shower, and I know that's a weird way to start a story, but work with me, a group of girls came into the shower area and asked me to go over the 7 ecumenical councils with them before a quiz that day for Dr. Kados's Introduction to Orthodoxy class. So this is just one example of the silliness and awkwardness community can bring. Another example is that you cannot study in the cafeteria. One of two things always happens. Either a group of people forms around you, thinking that naturally you want someone to talk to you, or you sit at one of the small tables off to the side and people continuously come up to you saying, "Are you okay?" Either way, no studying gets done. But the sense of community is life-giving and is something we need to carry into our post-HCHC lives. In fact, it is in our most basic nature to live in communion with one another. We see this in God, who is Trinity, in Christ, who allows us to participate in his body and blood, in St. Paul, who would rather sacrifice his own salvation than see his flock fail, and in the church, a community that transcends even death. It is this sense of communion that drives the heart of Hellenic College. St. Paul says about the church that the body is one and has many members, but all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. We are aware of this most acutely when living in community. There is the sense that we are unique, special, and needed, and simultaneously very much the same. Therefore, in order to live in communion with one another, we need to be both completely ourselves and completely humble. Christ shows us the perfect example in himself when he, as fully God, became incarnate as a human being and formed a new covenant with us. I remember during my first week here, Father Nick sat down at my lunch table, which consisted only of undergraduate women. He just came right over and introduced himself and asked us all our names. What an amazing testament to his humility and our community. Thank you. Ooh. We were all special to him, and yet somehow as president and the amazing person he is, he made himself unspecial and didn't act like president or what you think the president would act like, but was in communion with us. This same humility through community creates one of the most amazing learning environments at Hellenic, because through community, this wonderful school becomes not only a place of higher education, but a place of co-learning between faculty and students. Once, Dr. Beck, Hellenic College Teacher of the Year this year, sat down at my table and posed a question about icons. He had already asked a couple professors, shared with us what they said, and then asked what we thought. The table discussed and came to a pretty solid conclusion, but ended with even more interesting questions. What an amazing moment for a professor to create a community of co-learning between all strata of HCHC. This sense of humility in our communion with one another is one of the major attributes that makes Hellenic so absolutely special. I think most of us have had a member of the faculty or staff take a personal interest in us and be in communion with us, and I would like to take the time to thank them right now. So now, as we are graduating, it is our time to go out into our new communities. Personally, I'm a little bit nervous for this because most of my closest friends are either here or are planning to go to graduate school far from home, and I'm heading back to live in Chicago permanently for the first time in 4 years. Kind of want to go full millennial and just live at home with my parents, write as a freelance blogger during the day, watch Netflix all night while drinking box wine, and roast organic fair trade coffee in my basement. However, St. Paul says in his first letter to the Corinthians that all things are lawful, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but not all things build up. Let no one seek his own, but the other's well-being. So that means I am totally allowed to go full millennial. Yet, this is not helpful to me personally, does not build up the church, and does not seek the good of our larger community. What is helpful, builds up, and seeks the good of our neighbors is bringing our experience of community at Hellenic in all its silliness, joy, messiness, stress, humility, and Christ-like love into both our church communities and our greater communities. We do this by, and you all probably knew this was coming, a plug for the Office of Vocation Ministry. We do this by responding to Christ's call to love God with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength, and to love our neighbors as ourselves. By getting involved and through love serving one another, we are able to transform our communities into places that are life-giving and joy-filled. Congratulations, class of 2015, on being one of the most loving, kind, and joyous classes. It is an honor to graduate with you, and I know that the HCHC community who loves us is also expecting amazing things from us. And you know what? I'm sure we're going to give it to them. Thank you.